What's going on, guys, and welcome back to yet another weekly crypto market update brought to you by Gamestarter. My name is Joe, and I'm here to bring you all the latest in Gamestarter news, but of course, news from around the broader crypto and NFT marketplaces as well. This week, after our market update, we got my top tips for investing into crypto, a Gamestarter announcement about a new protection protocol, some updates on a couple of our projects, and a couple top stories from around the NFT and crypto spaces. If at any point in this video you find yourself getting some sort of value out of it, or you want to help directly boost the Gamestarter ecosystem and project as a whole, all you have to do is like the video, subscribe to our channel, and you can help spread the word about Gamestarter and help us grow as a project and community. Your support means so much to myself and the team, and it's an awesome way to help boost these videos to get them in front of more eyes and a broader audience. Anyways, hopping right into a market update, Bitcoin is back toying with the $19,000 line. There's definitely some strong support down at this lower end of the range. However, we have bounced several times across it, and traditionally the more times you test a support line, the more likely it is to break on the next touch. So let's hope we see buyers step in here so we don't lose this floor in support, but I do have cash ready to deploy if we do see further downside. There does seem to be a lot of hope that the Fed is going to pivot their stance and start to loosen some of their policy as more and more people are so negatively affected by these rising interest rates. But just as we saw so many positive remarks with that hope, I'm almost seeing just as many comments dismissing these as basically just wishful thinking and don't get your hopes up. To me, the way to win against the market is to be prepared for either up or down, and my dollar cost averaging continues. I'm continuing to diversify my streams of income and look for opportunities to get into projects for the long run that I think are going to be around and leading the next bull market. That being said, if you're new to crypto, or maybe you've had a couple seasons under your belt, I want to share some thoughts that I wish I could go back and give myself when I first started in crypto. This is not financial advice to the public. There are some things that I would advise my younger self, and perhaps you can take note of these things and consider them in your own strategy. Tip number one that I would tell younger Joe is that he should go into this market with a plan and a strategy. Is he going for long-term holds or short-term trades? Are you diamond handing? Are you putting in stops? Do you have levels at which you're taking profit? This could also all change based on what part of the market cycle that we're in, and ultimately just having that plan and strategy is so important and will save you a ton of stress and headache. Tip number two, but it rolls up into number one, is to know your risk. Everyone always says don't invest money that you can't afford to lose, and it's honestly not terrible advice, but a way that I would advise younger Joe to implement that is to imagine the worst case scenario and see if he would still be okay with that coming to fruition. Obviously, no one wants the worst case scenario to happen, but if it does, could you handle it, or would it cause you financial ruin? If that worst case scenario ruins your life, you're overexposed, or you don't know what you're doing, or you're in over your head and you need to adjust your positioning. Thirdly, and this is cliche, but I would tell younger Joe to definitely do his own research. So many people, and myself included, get excited behind a big influencer with a big following and blindly follow whatever they say without taking the time to actually step back and understand what they're putting their money into and analyzing the risks that come along with the investment. Even when I make these kind of videos or post my top picks, I want you to go and look into the projects and do some research. Not that I'm trying to trick you or deceive you, but I could be wrong. I could have missed something, or it might also not fit in your overall strategy. So younger Joe, go do your own research and make sure you know what you're putting your money into. Next, I would say to keep your portfolio manageable. Now, this is purposefully subjective because everyone's management skills are going to differ. When I was getting into crypto, I had way too many coins and way too many investments. And while diversification has its place for sure, I was way too overexposed and I couldn't keep track of all the different projects that I was invested in. So younger Joe, make sure you have a portfolio that you can oversee and understand each of the projects and what they do. Keep up with the news, keep up with their price action, and have a plan for each one of them. And if you're invested in too many different projects where you can't keep up to date with all that information, they might just have too many investments to begin with. Next, I would say learn to be skeptical and contrarian. This one is extremely hard because it's very natural for us to tune out the opinions that disagree with our personal bias and to listen and get excited about the opinions that match with our personal positions. Just as an example, when we were in the 60,000s not too long ago, it seemed like everyone and their mother was screaming for 100k Bitcoin. The writing was on the wall, and when the whole market was so euphoric and so excited, it was such a huge sign that things were not going to go that way and that a lot of people were about to get wrecked. So I would advise younger Joe to have a healthy skepticism and learn to have that contrarian mindset that when the majority of people are screaming one thing, might be a sign that things are are about to turn the other way. And finally, I'm going to say don't go all in at once. There are lots of ways to make money in this space, and if you miss one opportunity, there's likely going to be a lot more to follow. If you feel pressured or rushed to dump all your money in at one time, you must control yourself, you must control your emotions, and go back and stick to your plan. If it really is a strong project, you can always add more later, but I'd much rather be underexposed than overexposed. Well, those are some of my personal best tips that I would give to my younger self, but I think they're all great points to keep in mind, and I hope you can at least take them and consider them in your own trading strategies so you can continue in your personal development as well as grow your personal wealth. So next, on to some Gamestarter news. Gamestarter has just announced a new protection protocol to provide additional security to its community. At Gamestarter, it is our mission to provide the best token launches from the best projects in the space, and we continue to try to find ways to keep those initial offerings secure and safe as possible. So here are some of the terms of the platform that are changing. Firstly, Gamestarter will request the full amount of tokens allocated for the specific initial offering to be sent to our launchpad 24 hours prior to the beginning of the token sale. Then if anything were to happen during the initial offering, we would still be able to take care of our buyers' funding and organize a full refund for all those involved. Next, Gamestarter will offer a full refund for all token buyers in the case of a project doing a partial release, and the price of the token drops 20% during the first 7 days of that release. Next, Gamestarter will also offer a refund if a project were to have 100% token listing during the token generation event, and the token were to drop in price by 20% of its listing value. Fourthly, in the case of tokens being delivered at different times per the vesting schedule, if the project's token were to drop by 50% below the initial offering, and if the token were to not recover its initial value by the 14th day of the vesting period, Gamestarter will stop the vesting process. And finally, as an extra layer of security and to avoid crazy fluctuation in the token prices, token listing will not be allowed to take place later than 7 days after the initial offering on Gamestarter. This should ensure the availability of the token on listing, guaranteeing more price stability during those first few days after the initial offering. Again, safety and security are our number one priority here at Gamestarter, and we're always looking for ways to improve. If you have any thoughts or ideas, please drop them down below, and you can rest assured that we're going to continue looking for ways to improve these measures for the benefit of our community. Next, let's talk about one of the games that have launched on our platform, Kingdom X. Kingdom X has been hard at work since it launched on Gamestarter, and we're so happy to have collaborated with this amazing project. Just in these past 2 months, they've implemented tons of technical developments, including a new PvP gameplay design. They've optimized the PvE gameplay and increased the active release of skills, added their hero equipment parts upgrade system, and more. As far as their marketing is concerned, they've run several big campaigns, and they've got a ton coming down the pipeline, including the development of their mobile version, a new staking and mining page, the development of their governance voting system, and more. We're also thrilled to see one of our other partners, Creo Engine, doing so well. They've officially joined the Indonesian Blockchain Association, which is a non-profit organization working to foster an environment for business that promotes technological awareness, adoption, and competitiveness, and they're now hosting a pre-registration for a game launching with Creo Engine called Evermore Nights, and they've got plenty more coming down the pipeline. And next, just a reminder that we are still doing our Twitter Spaces weekly. You can join us every Wednesday at 4 p.m. UTC, where myself and other Gamestarter team members host other projects and influencers in the space to talk about their projects, dive into some behind the scenes of what they're doing, as well as have some good roundtable discussion about crypto, NFTs, and the market as a whole. And finally, don't forget to enter into the Dark Frontiers AI-generated art competition, which closes October 18th. Go check out our Twitter for more details, but it's super easy to enter, and it's a lot of fun to mess with the AI art. We've already seen some awesome submissions so far, but be sure to add your entry soon. We got some juicy prizes up for grabs. Now to close with a couple news stories from around the space, as Google has partnered with Coinbase to allow for crypto payments for cloud services. Certain customers of Google are going to be able to use Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even Dogecoin to pay for cloud services, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see if this trend continues. Google has definitely shown a lot of interest in the Web3 and crypto space as a whole, as they've invested $1.5 billion into various blockchain companies and even hired a PayPal executive to explore crypto as a form of payment. Let's hope this form of payment continues to spread to other parts of the Google ecosystem, because there'd be nothing like one of the biggest companies in the world accepting crypto as payment to really lead to true mass adoption. And in some NFT news, the SEC is now investigating Yuga Labs, the creators of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, over some some potential securities violations. The investigation will look at Yuga Labs to see if they used NFTs as a sort of placeholder for stocks, and so far the SEC is just seeing if they did anything wrong. As of now, there's no formal accusations that Yuga did anything wrong in this case, and I feel as long as they're treated fairly, perhaps the investigation could be good to not only put pressure on other NFT groups to make sure they're doing things the right way, but hopefully to start bridging the gap between traditional finance and the crypto and NFT spaces, because to me, the only way this succeeds at the end of the day is for us to actually get along with the policy and rule makers and build that good and trusting relationship. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you this week. I hope you got something out of it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, please give us a like, a subscribe on our channel, and drop a comment down below with what you'd like to see in the next video. Anyways, guys, have a great week, and as always, I'm Joe with Gamestarter, wishing you all the best in your blockchain endeavors. Peace.